right down to the wire. And how about Funny Car? Jim Sickles, fresh off of a win at Grand Bend, is looking hard at Rob Atchison. He'd love to knock Atchison off the top of the points pile and earn his first ever IHRA World Championship in Funny Car. We're in Edmonton, Alberta. We're on speed, and you're watching the IHRA. It's showtime. Oh! Wow! Oh, man, talk about a close race. Phenomenal run. Wow, what a drag race. It's our pleasure to bring you another hour of coverage of the Western RV Rocky Mountain Nationals presented by Torco Race Fuels. Welcome to the IHRA Hooters Drag Racing Series. We're at Budweiser Park up in Edmonton, Alberta, and the fans up here love motorsports. I'm Ken Stout, Brian Olson alongside. We'll have Funny Car and Pro Stock for you here today.
Indeed we will, and as you scan through the grandstands there, you saw a lot of sweatshirts. It is cool and crisp, as you mentioned, Ken. And day like today, you can produce big-time numbers in the categories for which we will feature. Pro Stock being one of them. As well, Funny Car. We're going to watch some big numbers here today.
Speaking of big numbers, Tiffany Furman is standing with a man who set a new track ET record.
We have a new points leader in the Pro Stock division, and it's been a very, very tight field. 9 out of the 10 guys are here in Edmonton. And the new points leader happens to be Robert Patrick, which in Grand Bend, with your win, you were able to beat Steve Spees and be 9 points ahead of him in the Pro Stock division. Now, today, you have a bye run being the #1 qualifier. How are you going to stay on top?
I don't know. We're just going to give it our best shot. We came in here, we're running really good this weekend. And my crew's doing an excellent job. Track's good, and I'm just really looking forward to get to racing today.
Well, the Pro Stock division has been really tight all season, and like I said, with today, you got that bye run, you get to view the track, but it looks like it's going to come down to the very end of the season. How are you going to stay on top? Because you've been absolutely on fire.
Well, we're just going to continue to do a lot of testing, and we're doing a lot of engine work with our engine program, and we're just going to try to do that, see what we can do.
And now it's time for round number 1 of the Torco Race Fuels Pro Stock category as Pete Burner starts to burn out. And that was Dan Seaman in the far lane. Charlie Taylor Motorsports Seaman earned himself a win right out of the box in San Antonio earlier this year. This will be an 11-car qualified field, so we will see a bye run, Brian Olson.
That's right. A bye run will take place right off the bat. And I got to say one thing about the weather conditions here this weekend. It is cold. We had rain yesterday. It washed out qualifying. You can still see the moisture on the ground. You can see everybody wearing sweatshirts, even gloves to the starting line here. So while those make for good atmospheric conditions, the track temperature is down. And as a result, we may be in a situation where we see some tire spin and or tire shake in both categories featured here today.
And the track temperature, from what we're told, is about 66 degrees. By the way, not a whole lot of barometer here either. In the high 27 range, these cars, the Pro Stockers, need some barometer to run fast.
Most importantly, yes, you're right, Ken, they need low temperatures and high barometer, but you need that track temp to 72 to 74 to get down it at all, period.
Blows the tires right off of the car. Daniel Seaman goes right down the right lane. 6:57, 2:12. Not a spectacular number unless, of course, you consider all those conditions we just talked about.
That's exactly right. It's very worthy. As well, we saw when the parachutes came out for Dan Seaman, that car moved around a good bit down there as well.
Next pair will be Frank Gugliotta and Elijah Morton. Gugliotta came out here in qualifying and set a new track mile per hour record at 214.01 miles per hour. So he's finding some horsepower out here without that barometer. Elijah Morton was not qualified at Grand Bend, our last event where he had gone to the final. So I'm sure he's happy to be back in the field here.
Exactly right. Flying meatball gets set to go, and they turn on the computer on board the race car at the back as they'll move forward. Rising Storm, absolutely gorgeously detailed machine for Elijah Morton. Number 5 in IHRA Hooters Drag Racing Series a year ago. They'll move the starting line. Round 1, Torco Race Fuel Pro Stock.
And Elijah Morton jumps the gun. He goes red here by 0.06 of a second. Frank Gugliotta comes out here, lays down an 0.43 light. Very nice in a 6.53. Next pair, couple of tough vehicles right here, and you got to talk about Rick Jones and John Montecalvo. Rick Jones switching over to the Chevy Cobalt, campaigned to Dodge a year ago. Now has that big Sunny Power underneath that one, just like John Montecalvo.
Pretty much identical race cars. That Chevrolet Cobalt, the car of choice for those who carry the GM logo. And these things have proven pretty well right off the bat that they will cut through the air quite well. Rick Jones has proven it, as has John Montecalvo.
And Rick Jones has also proven the fact how hard you've got to run these cars. They are right on the ragged edge. Whenever they're right, they're fast. When they're not, you're off. He proved it as he went to the finals in Virginia, earned a win this year, comes right back at Grand Bend, loses round one. That's how tough this field is.
Well, I got to say, Ken, for sure, Sonny's and the folks over at John Kaj's as well. Now, Bob Ingles in the mix as well. Pair of Chevrolet Cobalts, a pair of Sonny Leonard-powered motors. You talk about being caught up with one another. This is the tightest class in IHRA drag racing. This one is pro stock.
Bill Cavello helping out John Montecalvo there, telling him he had just a little bit to go before he turned on that pre-stage bowl. Drag race there. John Montecalvo gets him at both ends of the track, though, an 0.44 light, and then strings that together with a 6.53. Well, we're not finished with Pro Stock yet. The rest of round one in a moment. Brought to you by Torco Racing Fuels. Fuel with an attitude. And by Western RV Racing. We're back in Edmonton, Alberta, with the IHRA Hooters Drag Racing Series, and it looks like those fans have a bird's eye view up there of all the hot racing action coming their way. The number one qualifier is backing up. That's Robert Patrick. He set a track ET record in qualifying at 6:49. This is an 11-car qualified field, so we will get a bye run here. We'll also see another bye run in the semifinals.
A lot of racers will tell you they'd rather have one late in the day, but in this situation with all the rain on Saturday, a best shot at the racetrack in a single and a way to get a good bit of data is to take that single right off the bat. Robert Patrick has that opportunity as the number one qualifier here today.
Spook, the official starter for the IHRA, standing up there in the middle, keeping an eye on everything. And that is a great-looking car right there. No question, Robert Patrick has been on his game here in 2005.
Definitely has. Won a more recent race at Grand Bend just a few weeks ago.
He needed a freebie here. Look at that. 6:48.8 will reestablish the track ET record here, and Robert Patrick's got a handle on this place.
Take a look at the rear tires as this thing leaves the starting line. It hikes the front end up. The wheels are still in the air. Now they finally come down. As he goes through the gear changes, you can see the left front wheel on the race car. It's all over the place, but that's the only way you can keep it straight when they're running that much speed at the far end.
Next pair will be Tony Gillig as he does the burnout in the far lane. Chuck DeMori will be here in the near lane. Chuck DeMori getting a round win at our last event in Grand Bend. Crew chief for him is Chris Holbrook, standing right there closing the door. Chris Holbrook, the 1999 national champion for Pro Stock, and a problem for Chuck, they're going to push him back.
Oh, they got problems. That is a tough way to go. And Chris Holbrook, one of the most talented engine builders, talented race car tuners, also in his day, and probably still today, one of the best drivers ever in the business.
Oh, no question. I mean, if he had the funds to come out here and play the game, he would do a very good job. And we have seen him sporadically over the years come out and play ball every now and again. But as usual, you know, it's kind of hard to come up with the funds to run one of these cars. They are a lot of money, in excess of $100,000 for the motor alone.
As a driver, you want Spook to come over and give you that sign if the other guy's broke. This is a great way to get things started off for Tony.
Tony Gillig on his game here in both the reaction time department and ET. Runs 212 miles an hour. Nice lap for Gillig.
You're exactly right. Great lap as we watch this thing from the starting line. Then we'll move it down track. Same run as we saw for Robert Patrick. Left front wheel hiked up in the air. This car goes a little bit straighter, but not quite as quick at ET, Ken.
That'll match Tony Gilligan, John Montecalvo up in round number 2. Our next pair will feature Jerry Haas and Steve Spiess. Jerry Haas, of course, a chassis builder. Steve Spiess used to campaign a Jerry Haas car for years, now driving an RJ car, but coming out here, even though he's going to win in that car, he's made some changes.
We made major changes yesterday in the chassis of the car. What's happened here is Grand Bend and this track here, they just done a fantastic job of prepping it, and it's just a great place. And where we were doing better on a track that maybe didn't bike as good, we lost something. So we were hoping to get in yesterday's run so we could see if this is going to work. So it's going to be a guess this first round this morning.
And that is the crapshoot when you don't get those qualifying runs in. These guys do not sleep well the night before.
Again, it shows the importance of those two guys, that they were able to get those single runs, a legal bye and a competition break single for Tony Gillig. That's the perfect opportunity to learn. This track has got poured upon with rain yesterday. It's a whole new racetrack today.
Jerry Haas goes red by 95 thousandths of a second, nearly a tenth of a second red light for Jerry Haas. That is a bunch. We'll watch him go to work.
Use the push button shifter. You can watch him as he heads down through there as he gets in the traction, puts the clutch back in, now hit the parachute, and you can see that thing push his head forward when that parachute blossoms, Ken.
Tough break for him. All right, let's talk about our night under fire. Boy, oh boy. The folks up here in Edmonton, Alberta had a ball.
The greatest fans in the world, bar none, all from north of the border. They have a ball not only watching the wheel standers, the jet cars, we run top fuel cars, and pro mod, pro stock, and funny car. And of course, as always, we'll wrap the night up with a huge firework display at the end, my friend.
Everybody loves those jet trucks, and that's what it looks like when they end them up. Okay, when we come back, it'll be round number 1 of Funny Car. IHRA Hooters Drag Racing Series. We're at Budweiser Park in Edmonton, Alberta. The Hooters girls are out there rifling up some shirts to some lucky fans who are having an awesome time. Let's send it down to Tiffany Furman, who's standing with Jim Sickles.
Here in the funny car division, it's been 4 or 5 years since we've seen anybody other than Rob Atchison and Mark Thomas in the number 1 or number 2 position. But Jim, you were able to come off with the number 2, and there's like 19 points between you and Mark, which is 3, and 23 between you and Atchison. What are you going to do, continue your run, because you've been on fire?
Well, we've been doing okay here. We really got to get a grip on our tune-up here. We're up and down here, not quite making it how Rob is. Although things are coming around here, and consistency is what I think is going to win these races, and if we can keep that up, I think we can do okay here.
Well, yesterday we were rained out. Everybody only got 1 qualifying pass. Is that going to hinder you as far as your setup today?
A little bit. We were into trying some stuff yesterday afternoon and having the second position there. Although Rob's out in front of us 8/10, and there's a little ground to make up here. We'll see how things go today, and we're going to try a little different things the first round here. Hopefully get by that, and then we got Thomas second round and see where it goes, you know.
Funny Car, round number 1, and he is right. Rob Atchison has been on a tear this year. 584, the number 1 spot. Jim Sickles qualified in the number 2 spot with a 592. That is giving up a bunch.
Isn't it strange, though, Ken, when you talk to the drivers, as we just did, and we look at the matchups here for round number 1, that they can always pretty well tell you who they've got to run in the next round without even knowing. I can't figure that one out yet.
No, and they don't seem to worry about whoever else it is that they're running. They don't seem to worry about making them angry. So we'll take a look at this first pair here. It will be Thomas Carter, Terry McMillan. Terry McMillan qualified number 5. Carter qualified number 4, and that is Thomas Carter right there. Fowler power plant inside of that one. Also getting some help from the Canisters as well. Of course, Lori Canister, just a standout driver when she was in the field as well, and still holds the the national mile per hour record in this class.
Absolutely. The Jawbreaker Motorsports for Dr. Thomas Carter, and as we have said before, he's a maxillofacial surgeon.
McMillan, once again, the better of the 2 reaction times, but could not run the number there with Carter. And look at Carter, gave up a bunch, man. He really had to drive back around him in what turned out to be a pretty close race.
1/10 of a second to be at track going past the Christmas tree, and that's the advantage Terry McMillan had. He just didn't have the steam at the top end of the racetrack.
Our next pair will be Jim Sickles, fresh off of a win at Grand Bend. Other than that, he'd only had one round win this season. They actually struggled with clutch setup a little bit earlier in the year, but now seem to have found it. As we talked about before, the weather conditions drastically different from Grand Bend than they are to here. Let's go to Tiffany, who's with our winner.
You ran 5.94. Your reaction was a 17. Pretty good.
Little slow in the tree, but I'm happy for the round win. That really helps.
Any changes that you know of?
Well, we made some big changes for this round, hoping it would pick up and get us in the fives, and it did. So we got something to work with now.
Jim Sickles pulling up there in the Myers RV Superstore sponsored machine. He'll line up alongside John Evanchuk, and John in the second car owned by Rob Atchison and family.
In a very good-looking funny car indeed it is. The multi-candy colored machine there on the near lane. Taking on the Tom Anderson tuned Myers RV Jim Sickles driven funny car over on the far side.
John not able to hang with him here. Look at the reaction times, very close to each other, but it's going to be Jim Sickles who records a track ET record, and look at that blower hat. That one doesn't look right, Brian.
No, right in the lights. I mean, right in the lights at the 1320. Right now, watch this. Boom, that baby was in fact beyond by about 2 car lengths. Let's talk to him at the top end.
Jim, you had a great run. Looks like you set a record for both ends of the track, but something went wrong. What happened?
Yeah, we weren't trying to run an 82 here. We're just trying to repeat with another 88 or 89, and obviously something leaned out a little bit in it, and had a little failure with the blower and the intake. So we got a little work to do. Hopefully we'll get back next round here.
We'll finish up round number 1 of Funny Car when we come back.
On the tire pretty quick. It moved around on the racetrack though. And when they do move around on the racetrack like that, that is lost elapsed time, Ken. That's just how it works out.
Mark Thomas and Trevor Lebsack will be our next pair. And, of course, once again, Mark Thomas in the hunt for this championship. Let's send it up to the top where Tiffany has Rob Atchison.
A win's a win, but basically that's another crack at the track. Got a better understanding of it. What do you think? You ran a 586, 238.
Yeah, we had to make sure we didn't go out there and jump on ourselves, so left it a bit soft. The track's really good, and it was nice to get a clean one. Man, my heart was pumping, man. When the track's different and the conditions are different, you never know what you're going to get, and we're making a lot of power when the air was bad, so had to be careful. But Erickson Manufacturing, Pennzoil, McMaster Chevrolet, whew, going another round.
Changing track conditions, obviously something everybody is worried about. When you're part of the points battle, you have to be concerned on how you're going to race as well.
Well, you know, it's interesting, Tiffany, because the points battle is so tight. It makes it obviously fun for everybody involved, right? And the other part is we have that ever-changing condition as far as a lot of humidity now, a lot cooler. You have to go up there fairly confident in what you have, and you can't be too conservative because you can get bit either way. So we're going to go up there with pretty loaded guns. We're going to go up there not trying to set the world on fire, but we're going up there to go fast.
Pretty loaded guns. I mean, Jimmy Rector's not afraid to put the bullets in the deal. And Lebsack will not get a win here as Mark Thomas just thunders down through there with a 596 and a great reaction time.
That's exactly right, Ken. He nailed the tree and nailed the elapsed time. As we watch the replay, a picture-perfect run. Car did not shake the tires. Look how smooth this thing moves around here. Does take a little move to the left. Mark keeps it straight and right down the middle of the racetrack. Let's talk to him.
Great reaction time, 057. You were 596 with the 8, 235. Any changes to the car?
Well, you know, we were a little bit conservative, but we know we can go fast. We put a different blower on the car for that run that we've had trouble with the last couple races. We wanted to see how it would react. Our other blower is a real good blower, so I think we'll be okay.
Well, Rector and the boys better get that blower out because Sickles ran an 82, and that's who they have next.
Mike Ashley did not become the IHRA Pro Modified World Champion by having an ugly T-shirt. Evan Knoll, the president of Torque Race Fuels, refuses to sponsor anyone with an ugly t-shirt.
It's okay to wear an ugly t-shirt when I'm going to see my son's music teacher at school. When I'm hanging out at the racetrack, I gotta wear the cool Torco gear. Look at the girls I get to hang around with, the Torco girls.
Daddy, Mommy's on the phone. She says you're on live TV.
Live TV.
Torco gear.
It's hot.
Welcome back to the IHRA Hooters Drag Racing Series. That one is life size and then some. What was the name of that movie? The 40-foot tall woman?
I don't know. Looks pretty good to me.
She's 13.6. Torco Race Fuels Pro Stock coming up next. Steve Speece doing a good job in round number 1. Good enough to get to round number 2, and that's all you're really after. 6:51, 2:13 in round 1. Pretty good lap for him. Speece will line up alongside Frank Gugliotta. We saw him set a track mile per hour record in qualifying at 2:14.01. He'll line up against a big dog. These are two big hitters right here.
And Ken, we talked a little bit earlier about the 11-car starting field and about the third round bye run. I believe this is the side of the ladder that will get it. The winner will take the bye in the semi.
What a drag race here. Frank Gugliotta steals one on a hole shot by 10,000ths of a second. 6:51.9 beats a 6:50 with an 8. Man, oh man, this is Pro Stock.
That's right, Ken, and this is as close as it gets down the top end. You might as well just call it a photo finish. And the best way in the world you can make yourself go to the final is have a bye in the semifinals. Watch it from the in-car camera right out of the windshield. The flying meatball right down the middle of the lane. He picks up the win, and once again, we'll move to the finals with a bye in the next round.
Ford versus Chevrolet. Tony Gillick here in the near lane with the Ford Mustang, obviously, and then the Chevy Cobalt, driven by John Montecalvo. These two, their ETs were within 1,000th of a second of each other in round number 1. This should be a great battle.
Great opportunity once again, Ken Stout, for a pick'em drag race as these guys, and I gotta say, not only did they run near identical lap times, they're both in the lanes they have favored, and the lanes look pretty equal so far.
So far, we saw a little advantage, it seemed like, in the first couple of pairs to the right lane, but everything seemed to come right around. We talked about the track temperature being at 66 degrees. Run a few cars down this thing, that will come to us as well.
That's exactly right, Ken. The more cars you put down the racetrack, the more heat you put in the track surface. As you watch the crew members measure the height of the wheelie bars. Now, on these Pro Stock cars, you want the right side to be a touch lower than the left. Helps them leave the starting line.
Extremely close race here. Margin of victory, 12,000ths of a second. Tony Gillick had to drive back around him. It was Montecalvo with a better reaction time. And the 52.0 beats the 55.2.
Needed a full quarter mile to get the job done because he was behind by a couple right out of the gate.
6:52, 2:12. Any changes to the race car for the next round?
We were light first round, and that round was a little better. There's more on the table there. We went from the right to the left lane in that round there, and we can probably go a 50 flat here. Robert's running really good, and we have him next round if he can get around Dan. But we're excited. I think we're going to do good. We're going to do okay today.
Lane preference for you?
The right lane seems to be a little better, but Robert went that 49 the night before in the left lane, so I think they're pretty equal in ET.
There you go, kind of confirming what you just said a moment ago, Brian. They feel very comfortable in either lane. Now, we saw Robert Patrick coming out here and had that bye run in round number 1 and round number 2. If he wants to go to round number 3, he's going to have to earn his way there against a very tough Daniel Seaman, who beat him earlier this year on a hole shot. I guarantee he'd love to get even with him there.
In that situation that we talked about a moment ago in the lanes, with those drivers who had not only a bye run, but a competition break single run that we saw in round number 1, generally the racers themselves will switch to the lane that they don't favor as to see what it will take during that racing day.
Patrick with a big move, but still manages to run a 6:51. Again, reaction times almost identical, but Patrick, even with that move, Brian, manages to hang on and run a number.
Robert clearly loves that right side of the racetrack, or the far lane as we look at it from this angle, and that car continues to make that small move, but right down the middle of the groove, he'll go from that point on.
Obviously, you made it to the next round. Any changes?
It was a little loose in the middle. We'll probably take some clutch out of it, but all in all, I'm happy. Steve went out and he was number 2 in the points, so that was a big important round for us, and just go see what we can do against Tony next run.
Well, lane preference?
I don't know right now. That right lane's a little bumpy, but they're both pretty good.
Okay, keep your eyes on the yellow funny car, the blower hat right here. Boom, that thing explodes, and Tiffany is standing with Jim to see if they can fix that supercharger.
Well, there's the damage. Now Team Sickles is thrashing like crazy. So, Jim, tell me, are you going to make it?
Yeah, I think we'll be all right here. We definitely got to get something out there for Freedom Roads here, and that was a big run for us last run there, and just need to repeat. That's all we're looking for.
Well, can you give us a little breakdown as to exactly what happened?
Well, somehow it took something inside, I think, and knocked the rotors out of the blower, and things come apart. So everything on the top comes off. We hadn't even pulled the head, so hopefully we can get this thing back together.
Well, I'm getting out of the way so they can thrash.
All right, man.
I gotta say, Ken, very much a rarity when you break the case on an alcohol car and a blower.
The semis of Pro Stock next. You can see they're putting their fingers in their ears. That's because when you got 815 cubic inches, man, it can get loud in a hurry. It's time now for Torco Race Fuel's Pro Stock semifinals. And Tony Gillig will line up alongside Robert Patrick. I guarantee you Tony Gillig has not forgot about Robert Patrick dumping him out at Grand Bend. This has all the makings for a great race.
I couldn't agree with you more, Ken Stout. And I got to say this, Robert Patrick had the lane choice and now has taken the near side of the racetrack for the first time today. I'm not so sure it's the greatest move to make, but right now let's see what Tony Gillig thinks.
We owe Robert one from Grand Bend, so I think the tables are going to turn here in a little bit.
Any changes that you made to the car, or have you kept it the same?
Trying to stay consistent. We didn't make any big changes, so we hope we can go out and go a high 50 or a low 51 and get there first.
Patrick had a small performance advantage on him in round number 2, just by about 9,000ths of a second. But Gillig had a much better reaction time. We'll find out if he can get even with him right here, as he'd love to do.
Gillig pretty well known for his starting line prowess, as is Robert Patrick. Pick'em drag race right here in the semifinals.
Shot win. It's going to go to Tony Gillig. An 0.32 light to an 0.76. He was 44 thousandths quicker at the starting line, but Patrick was only 26 thousandths quicker in the ET.
Patrick needed about 60 more feet. He probably could have caught him, but when he's 4 behind going past the Christmas tree, this is what it looks like at the finish line.
Tony, whole shot win, 6:52, 2:11. Brash time was 0.32.
That was a huge win for us. Kazi Power came through there. We didn't make a perfect run, but Leanne did a great job in the bell housing there that run, and I had to dig deep. Robert got me in Grand Bend not on a whole shot, but he left first and outran us, and I knew he was going to be there, so I had to dig deep.
Well, you said a while ago that you had something to pay back Robert to, so you did it.
Yeah, well, I'll take that.
Well, we're going to take a moment here and show you the bye run that Frank Gugliotta earned in round number 2. Came out of here, he knew he was going to the final round, Brian.
That's exactly right, and he took the right lane, not knowing exactly what lane he was going to get stuffed in for the final round, but he did take the right lane for this semifinal bye run.
And no doubt would love to get lane choice coming into it, although I must say, talking to most of the racers throughout the day, they seem to think that the lanes are pretty equal.
We started out with an uneven amount of race cars. We had a bye run in round number 1, and now we've got one here in the semis. Gugliotta could have moved to either side, but now has chosen this right lane with the thought process he may be there in the final round.
And sounded great. 0.47 light, 6:51. I'd say that's about as ready as you can get.
From the in-car camera, this is a great shot once again to go 6:51, 213 miles per hour. Let's talk to the flying meatball at the front of the racetrack.
Single run, you meeting Gillig in the finals. How do you feel?
I feel good today. We've car's been performing well. I've been driving halfway decent. this might be our day. I mean, we got lucky that one we got a bye, so Tony and them, they're tough.
Do you feel any difference as far as the lanes are concerned, or are you just going to stick with what you know?
I think the right lane might be a little better. I think we might stick with the right lane.
This is how they made their way to the finals. You know, Gugliotta got to the semis on a hole shot. Gillig got to the finals on a hole shot. Both of them driving hard today. When we come back, it'll be the semis of Funny Car. To come out and enjoy themselves here with the IHRA. Thanks for coming out. Hope you're having a great time. You can see the ear protection on, and that one's got some little goodies to eat along the way, too. Nothing like a whole handful of M&Ms to watch them drag race.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I could use a couple for myself right now.
See that big bag of peanuts you got over there. Mark Thomas. He eats up the hides, and he is to line up alongside Jim Sickles. Now, we're hearing Sickles might not be able to make the call. They were about 4 or 5 minutes away from having that blower change. Of course, we saw Tiffany follow up on that story. There's a lot of work to be done there.
Well, not only do you have to rebuild the blower, I mean, you have to take the rotors out of the case, whatever it is you got to do. But for the most part, you got to change the hat, the injector nozzles, and a lot of stuff that goes along with it. If you're not totally prepared with one sitting on the bench, then you got to add to that the fact that they may have had some motor damage in there as well, so it could have been the whole thing. It's a single here for Mark Thomas nonetheless.
Yeah, Jimmy Rector was standing there. They were waiting as long as absolutely possible. Finally, the IHRA forces them to go to the line. I guarantee you Mark Thomas would wait all day for competition, but they will not allow him to do that.
That's exactly right. Mark Thomas, and he's a great sportsman, as a number of them are here. He's going to try for low 18 around to get lane choice.
And Thomas lays down a 594 at 236 miles per hour. Last time out, a 596. He finds a couple hundredths of a second here. And once again, we'll see Thomas Carter come out here. He'll line up alongside Rob Atchison here. Carter, pretty strong car. He's going to have to really step on this. These guys are going to have to find some horsepower to hang with that old truck motor. Let's send it up to the top end to talk to our winner, Mark Thomas.
Well, by run,
yes,
making it to the finals.
Yes.
So how do you feel?
We feel really good. You know, Tiffany, I would like to race Jim, obviously. He passed us in points at the last race. We're all stuck in that little window, 1, 2, and 3. We're right there. But you take him any way you get him. We move back into second in points. We'll see what happens in the final. You know, we love coming to Edmonton. This is great for us. And, yeah, we'll just turn the wick up on this baby and let it fly.
The points battle is very close, and Brian, if my math is correct, if he loses in the finals, he'll actually be tied with Sickles for second. We'll see how that works out. Rob Atchison, I don't know what they're doing here. We've seen it a couple of times, but his father back there looks like he's holding a piece of tape.
I'm pretty well miffed by it, to be honest with you, Ken, and I'm going to dig into that a little bit further throughout the course of the next coming events, but I know most activities at the back of these race cars, that one there goes beyond me, and I don't know exactly what it is.
Thomas Carter lined up in the near lane, Atchison in the far lane. With an 044 light, I've got to tell you, man, it looked visually like Carter left before him, but boy, I'll tell you, he lays in another great run with a 589.
Watching Ken from the back of the car, it goes up on the tire real quick. I mean, he's got great wheel speed. Wheel speed means great elapsed time. Goes to that little bump right there. You can see the car moving around. But Atchison on yet another great run. His crew can tell right off the bat he's got to win. Let's talk to him at the far end of the racetrack.
Rob, you had tire shake, but you had a 589, 239.
Yeah, I was shaking and rolling a bit there. I punched in a second when I was shaking the tires, picked the front wheels back up, and woo, it's great to be in the final again. You know, the Ericsson manufacturing cars just trucking along here in the cold, and man, who knows? Whew, it's pretty good. Final again. Take it home for Canada.
And Rob makes his way to the finals through Ken Kraus and Thomas Carter.
Jim Sickles unable to answer the call. Trevor Lebsek out in round one to Mark Thomas.
Edmonton, Alberta with the Western RV Rocky Mountain Nationals. We're down to the finals in our 2 categories. We have some other races we're going to show you, but first we want to show you how you can get hooked up with the official IHRA swag.
Not only can you get joined up to be an IHRA member, but you can pick up a t-shirt, a hat, a sweatshirt, and there were lots of those needed this weekend. Any kind of memorabilia, any kind of apparel from the IHRA. Check things out at the IHRAstore.com.
Well, you're right. Sweatshirts and coats were certainly a big item here this weekend in the cool weather. There's also a lot of toys there for the kids. Something for everybody to keep you happy. And if you can't find it here, you can always log on to check it out as well. Let's go to our Thunderbolt final right now.
Nostalgia Funny Cars running side by side, 57 Chevrolet. The machine of Jay Maggio from Edmonton taking on the old Ford of Tony Kupras in these alcohol-burning Nostalgia Funny Car body machines. 57 stretched-out Chevrolet taking out the 55 stretched-out Ford Thunderbird body machine here for Tony Kupras. This is a great class category. You can very well tell by listening that they're supercharged alcohol-burning machines. Run somewhere in the mid-750, 760 range. Basically, a funny car with an old body on board. Maggio and Kupras. Here we go in Thunderbolt. Final round. And to the top end of the racetrack, it's going to be Maggio, and that 57 Chevrolet on the 750 category dial goes 763. Kupras a little tardy on the starting line.
Nothing more exciting than a nitro-fed Harley-Davidson power plant. The V-twins make a lot of steam. As you take a look at the ladder, you can see that it was Brian Hull who made his way to the finals along with Ron Hunet.
Big time, 200-mile-per-hour motorcycles on 2 wheels. It is a tough game to play right here, kid.
And you can see him hanging off the side, trying to steer those things. Man, it is not a game for the faint of heart. Look at that, 680, 201 miles an hour. Congratulations.
Our Mr. Gasket Pro-Am winners display themselves in front of you right now. The remainder of those folks in Superstock, Stock, Thunderbolt, and on down the list. Congratulations to all of our champions in those categories. Our Summit Super Series, over $105,000 worth of stuff going to the win in the box category. No box class, whole bunch of cool stuff there as well, including the car and the golf cart.
Final round action coming up.
Dodge Dakota.
Let the celebrations begin. Race into Great Clips to win one of 4 Dodge Dakota RT-V8s. The Great Dakota Giveaway, only at Great Clips.
Brought to you by Western RV Racing. And by Torque Racing Fuels. Fuel with an attitude. Well, the fans are hanging tough because they want to see the finals. We didn't know we were going to get this thing off on Saturday. Boy, I tell you, the weather has come around. Now the sun has come out onto the track. Changing conditions here in Torque Race Fuels Pro Stock. And the burnouts have started with Tony Gillick on the far side. We'll have Frank Gugliotta here on the near side. This is the 4th time that both of these guys have made it to the final round. The record right now coming in for Tony Gillick, he's won 2, lost 1. Frank Gugliotta, he's won 1, lost 2. This should be a great battle here. Now, we also have some changing conditions. The sun kind of creeping out here. We had a chance to ask Frank Gugliotta what he did and what he thought about these changes.
We haven't had a qualifying run with the sun out, so are you going to do anything different with the car?
Yeah, we're probably going to have to change it around a little bit. You're right, the sun hadn't been out all day. I was kind of hoping that it wouldn't come out. It's a little disadvantage, you know, when it does heat up the track a little bit, but we're going to make a few adjustments and hopefully we'll get after it a little bit and hopefully we'll win this one.
The sun will put heat in the racetrack, but more importantly, it'll take some moisture out of the air, which can only mean for better elapsed times.
That's it, it's over. Tony Gillick goes red. Frank Gugliotta registers his 2nd career win in IHRA Pro Stock, and he got even with Tony Gillick, who took him out in Grand Bend in the quarters. Take a look at it one more time.
7 thousandths of a second. They say that's the amount of time it takes to blink your eyes. But Tony Gillick did it right here, and his 7 thousandths on the wrong side of a perfect reaction time. In this situation, it puts him in a runner-up effort here in the final round.
Congratulations to Frank Guglielmo. Lays down a 6:51 at 2:14. We'll go for a ride with him one more time.
Great shot. Great way to win the final round right there.
Let's go to the top.
Second career win, Frank, 6:51, 2:14. How do you feel?
Woo! Yeah. Man.
Well, let's show a little more excitement. Come on, one more time. There you go.
It feels great. I tell you, I got a few people I need to thank.
Go for it.
Steve Thodas, Stephanie Thodas, car owners, for letting me have this opportunity to do this. This is great, man, and I owe it to them. Moni, this one's for you, buddy.
There you go.
My girlfriend Kim, who couldn't be here this weekend. John Cosby Horsepower. Without them guys, John, guys that work in his shop, I mean, they put the power under the hood of this thing.
Well, congratulations.
Carburetors. And happy birthday to my daughter Shannon again. Thank you.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll take a look at the points here. Robert Patrick still on top by 32 over Steve Spieth and Tony Gillick. Guglielmo stepping up in that hunt once again, kind of scratching his way back in as we round out the top 10. Now let's go to the Funny Car Final. What a battle here, Brian Olson. These two guys have met 10 times over the past couple of years, and I've got to also say they are the two winningest drivers that are still active in this series. But, of course, Mark Thomas has been to the finals more than anybody else in this category, total of 51 times.
Holy cow, a record that may never be broken, but if it is, it very well could be broken by the car in the far lane. And that's the machine. That is not a Hemi-powered race car. Rather, you talk about it being a truck motor. It is a Chevrolet-based motor. Alan Johnson billet aluminum cylinder heads on this car. And this car for the last 2 years, and the bigger share of the season, unstoppable for sure.
The 19th career final for Rob Atchison, and to think that he's done it in 2 years and 5 races is phenomenal. Nobody else in the history of the IHRA has ever been to so many finals in such a short time. Going to collect another one right here. His 12th career win. Rob Atchison, the better reaction time, runs the better number, and earns another one.
He's quicker off the starting line. He's been running the right lane all day long. Mark Thomas makes a move over to the right, then the left. Right down the middle, the right side, or the far lane of the racetrack goes Atchison. And watch the crew. They know it before the win light ever comes on, but that's the only confirmation you have, is when those bright lights ring up the top of the scoreboard, Ken.
3 final rounds, 3 wins. Let's go to the top.
Well, congratulations. 586, 240. An 051 light.
Yeah, I wanted this one real bad, Tiff, man. It's just so many friends, and I got lots of sponsors here, and all my family and stuff. It's just, it's fantastic. It's great for Erickson Manufacturing and West Coast Transportation, who paid my way out here. And wow, what do you say? Another win. That's fantastic. Woo!
Great job, buddy.
Thank you.
Keeping it at home.
Woohoo! Yes!
Happy guy, and he's on top of the points, looking for his 3rd consecutive championship. Jim Sickles right there, though, had low ET of the day. Don't count that guy out.
Couldn't have had a worse time to have that blower explosion, no doubt about it.
Well, we hope you enjoyed your ride with the IHRA here today. For Tiffany Furman and Brian Olson, I'm Ken Stout. Make sure you check in with us September 3rd, as we'll bring you all the action from the Dukes of Hazzard Motor City Nationals right here on Speed. Hold on for one more exciting ride here down the quarter mile with Jerry Haas. We'll see you next time in the Hooters IHRA Drag Racing Series.